For me, it's not so clearly beginning and end somehow, even though we say now it was a 3-year process. Looking backwards, we can classify it, but when you're in it, you don't realize it as such. These pieces are not made by only one person. They are made by the people who want them. They are made by the people who support that process. They are also made by the people who don't want them. You know, everybody is a part of this. They're made by my team, by the engineer, by the people who actually really work. By Lotta thinking of that possibility to invite me, for example. I mean, there are so many different little pieces of energy in one. I thought that was amazingly free here. I had a feeling of, I mean, I know that there is always a little like different opinions and friction, or maybe people not being so happy about, you know, some stranger coming and doing something. But I've made experiences in large museums in New York or Los Angeles where I was very controlled, where I did not have that feeling of. They had a very specific reason why they invited me, and if I wouldn't fulfill that wish, they were very unpleased. They weren't even unhappy; they were really unpleased. You know, that's a different notion. You know what I mean, you know. Whereas I thought it was quite amazing here that, or like in Brand's Kleiderfabrik, I could really fire away. It was amazing. I could do an amazing piece. It keeps being one of my most beloved installations in museums. And here as well, I could do something I had never done before. You could also have said, look, you have never done this before. We can't do it because we want to have a piece that you've done before, so that we are sure you can do it. You know, that's an enormous amount of trust also. How I produce the sculptures? Yeah, we carve them with a hot wire. Yeah, so they're quite big. Some of them are 5-6 meters long, in this case. And I have an old tram station in Germany where I make the work, and we cut them. And then there was the process of engineering them also. So there was the team from Vara and from Germany. There was a structural engineer from Germany who made, who actually. We cut small ones first, and we dipped them into water to understand totally how they were made. And then they were scanned, and the structural engineer would make wind load and snow load and etc. load estimates. And that was then, that ended in a proposal how to mount them on the roof. And then we got to Rune, and he came back to us again. And then the Vara team would also come to Berlin and saw them uncovered, and then we would cover the whole styrofoam stuff with fiberglass and resin, and the feet would be put in and all that, and then they were primed, and then I would paint them. And then they are varnished again, like a painting, you know, very traditional in a sense, yeah. And this work didn't come from zero either, so as you have seen, I've carved styrofoam before. I did it in different ways, so I couldn't do something in another situation, so I could start to do it here. So it doesn't really. But what I really love, I love to paint. So when you say, what do I love to do about it, I'm really better in painting this rather than talk to the structural engineer. I'm not so good doing that. And also the installation, for example, I didn't do, you know, or take care of the structural engineering. So there were a lot of people that were then taking. I was out of the project also sometimes. Sometimes I wouldn't even know what was going on or what was being discussed. And then I would come back in and, you know. also how the things sit on the roof, you know. It is not like really sitting on them like real Tim Burton theater or movie prospect. They're a little up, and maybe they are even not stones or stardust or whatever, or meteorites. Maybe they are even like another chimney, you know. So it's a weird. These are things I didn't think about beforehand, and I kind of like that. Yeah. But we were talking about this early on, still when we were thinking it was going to be pink, that it should be like dipped, you know, like the house was taken, and so that there is a certain activity also. How can you get a house so blue? Only if you dip it, and that's impossible. Nobody has dipped the house, but it kind of lingers in your mind. I find it always amazing when you then see it, even though we made models and photoshopped and got a lot of really images where you would think, Jesus, it's really like what we thought it would be. But when you see it then materialized, that the fact that the material changes a lot of your vision, because the material has a presence that you can't imagine when you actually make drawings or make little models. And the scale of it, the way that people use it, I mean, such a simple thing as the door is opening and the door inside is brown, is wood, and the outside is blue, you know. I think that's a great moment, because you see there is inside and outside different, even though it's the same door. And the door is still a door. I mean, I didn't damage the building. The building is still fully intact, a station building, but it has nevertheless this other layer on top, which makes it be maybe a trigger for other thoughts.
Jag tyckte hon gör ju väldigt stora grejer. Det är häftigt. Hon uttrycker sina känslor, tycker jag.
Hon gör ju inte så här noggrant, utan hon gör ju mer alltså, som hon själv vill, och då kan man även det kan bli bra.
Att hon gjorde väldigt annorlunda och roliga saker, så då var det roligt att göra det också, göra det själv.
Det var roligt att man fick vara med när det är något så stort som stationshuset, att vi också fick vara med på det.
Vi fick använda grus och papper och andra sådana saker och limma fast det på våran träskiva och sen måla det och göra vad vi tyckte inspirerade oss.
Kul att komma på lite själv och ja, alltså typ lite frihet, eller vad man ska säga, lite som man vill.
Jag skulle måla lite hav och sånt, och sen när jag kollade på bilden så ser det ut som ett A. Lite konstigt men ändå coolt.